What's up, everybody? Welcome to Off the X Podcast. I'm Forrest Carvajal here with my best good friends, except for Barrett Moon. He's not here tonight. He had a rough, long Memorial Day working all day. The poor guy. All right, so we have a special guest tonight. Special guest, hometown boy, Bart Likes. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here because, I mean, we've all experienced the old Bart food, and it's, I mean, phenomenal. We're not going to say... You know, there's no words to describe how much we do like old Bart's food.
I love it. That's good.
No doubt.
I got light bills to pay.
Keep on coming, huh?
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, all the way.
Exactly. But not only are you a great cook, you really enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
and
kinda...
I mean, we've got, I don't know what kind of deer that is behind us. We've
That
got
would be
deer.
an axis.
An axis deer. See, I'm not a deer hunter. I don't know. It's a deer. We've got deer. We've got turkeys. We've got rams over there. I know there's a mountain lion coming. I can't wait to hear the story about that here on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Definitely a duck hunter. You've got the shin gear hat on right now. So of all that stuff, where did all that start? Did food come first? Did hunting come first? Like, how did it all come together?
Oh, I mean, being from Arkansas, so northeast Arkansas, Blytheville, that's where I was raised at. And so in the Delta, I mean, duck hunting, you know, that's it. Public ground hunting. So I've always kind of been around hunting. I didn't get into duck hunting until around college. But, yeah, pretty much my grandpa taught me how to deer hunt. And, I mean, it was like we ran dogs. Like, it was...
That's how I grew up deer hunting.
Yeah, it was. I like that deer hunting a whole lot more than waiting in the stand.
Can we still run dogs? Can we do that?
Not many places.
Yeah, I mean,
There are
wherever
parts of Arkansas you can.
yeah,
Okay.
wherever you want to run them at, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want on the last day. You know what I mean? So
If you
Till
pay,
green jeans rolls up.
yeah,
you
you
just
can pay
gotta
whatever
pay the
you
entry fee, right?
Yeah, you got the money for it. You can pay. You can get an early launch on boat launch too. Just if you can pay, you know, you just got to be able to pay the bill. So,
right.
but no, that's the kind of hunting I grew up with. And it was always the gun hunt. It was always a week long during Thanksgiving. It was always a big thing. I mean, I remember going, 8 years old, something like that, to Evening Shade, Arkansas. Deer Run Park used to be the place, and that's where my family would be at, and we'd stay a week there in campers, and we'd have one trailer full of food that my grandma would send with us and pack it out and eat until we came back. We were not starving, for sure. We would not starve. But, so I've always hunted, but food came into play after I was working at the railroad. And so how all the food got started, because I didn't really cook until after. My mom passed away in 2014. And so around that same time, I mean, it's like a country song. So she passed away, my dog got ran over, like I lost my job at the railroad, like I got laid off.
Man.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough one. But I got laid off at the railroad during hunting season, and it was my buddy Kylan had a place in Delaplane, and so I was really tired of hunting public ground. And then I figured out, I got a good personality. I might not be able to call ducks with the best of them, but I can entertain when it's boring. So he needed some help, and so that's kind of the guiding situation. And then we started cooking. I just happened to, instead of taking people into town or whatever, he was like, hey, can you cook some stuff for me? And I had some of my mom's recipes, so I was like, yeah, I can cook. And then it just kind of turned into something. And the biggest, first time there was a little bit of healing from my mom's past, because she was a big cook. I mean, she worked out at the steel mills, and on her shift, she would always bring food. She was always cooking. And later on, I figured out it's because that's how she stress relieved. She would cook. And then she would take it out to the mill where the boys were, and they'd eat it all up. So during this first time, it was with Drake Waterfowl. They were doing an industry hunt down there towards Delaplane on the Black River, and it was for about 50 of them, and they needed a cook. And, so I just happened I got 3 or 4 fire discs at the time and a 97 Chevy, and started cooking meals, and then it just turned into something. Then someone seen how I did it, and they were like, hey, can you come cook for this? Can you come cook for that? And I was like, and I didn't have a job, so I was like, yes. So
I mean, you got thrown into the fire right off the bat.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and it was really just recipes, a lot of YouTube. I remember my mom cooking, but I wasn't paying attention when she was doing it. I grew up as a bar stool kid, so I was at a bar stool, she was cooking, I was watching, I had the old school TV that would come down off the corner of the, so we'd watch. It was always Emerald on there. So that's kind of one of the biggest people that I want to meet. But anyways, just because of my mom. But no, it just kind of one thing after another, and then I'd get called back to the railroad, and so food would slow down, and then back and forth until ultimately, this one took off more, and I was tired of running the railroad, which I love, and I still, especially my North Little Rock location, I get a ton of railroaders now,
right?
And they're like, "Oh man, you made it out," and I'm like, I mean, it's you still work. I mean, it don't matter who you work for or what you work for, it's still work. And so, there you just get called in 24 hours a day. It's a crazy life, and it's about perspective. It's really anything you do. Like, if this all went up in flames, I mean, I could go find a job, but it's perspective. I mean, you give your life to the railroad when you work it. That's your life, and they pay for it, and you're gone. And when the phone rings, you got to get on the train and go. And so, I love the work because it's just, I mean, you literally are building America when you move amazing amounts of freight. One of the coolest things I ever got to operate was a locomotive. When I took engineer service, when I took promotion to, because I started out as a conductor, and then that person is in charge. When you look at a train, you've got the engines up front. Sometimes they're in the middle, and sometimes they're in the back. But the conductor is in charge of basically the freight, what's behind it.
Okay.
The engineer makes it go forward and backwards, and he does what he's told. And so he's the one that controls the speed and all that other stuff. So it's a teamwork effort type thing. But I took promotion because that's what I want to do. I mean, I want to honk the horn. Like, that's what are we doing here?
That's what everybody wants to do,
I want to honk the horn. And so I took promotion, and that was a lot of fun. But, I was 60-something mile an hour, 20,000 tons loaded coal train. And it's just, that is 20,000 tons. That's a lot. Do the math there. A ton is 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a lot of freight, and it's cool because you got to stop it and you got to make it go. And so it's neat, all the stuff you get to
You kind of have to do some math, don't you, on how soon you need to be hitting the brakes and how hard?
It is surprising. I mean, and railroaders laughed at this, but some of them are stupid. And you're like, oh God, and you get a little nervous. You're like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to do this trip on my own. Like, oh God. But I mean, it's crazy hours. There's no set hours. When the train comes in, if it's your time to go, you could have just got off 8 hours ago. So hopefully you got your sleep. You got to go, and then it's gonna be a 12-hour trip. It don't matter. Like, it's gnarly, but it's fun. Like, it's perspective. Like, I loved it when I was doing it. I mean, I had my bags ready. I don't know. It was just cool.
How far have you gone? Like,
so I've been able to do all the trips. So out of the North Little Rock hub, you can leave North Little Rock. You can go to Pine Bluff. You can go to Longview, Texas. You can go to Dexter, Missouri. You can go to Memphis, and then you can go to Van Buren.
Okay.
And so I've done all those.
Okay, well, that's not brutally far. I was thinking,
no, but it still takes 12.
all the way to Washington.
It still takes 12 hours. Like, going to Memphis takes 12 plus hours.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah.
Why?
But because other freight's moving, you got to get over. It's got to come here. You might not be priority freight. If it's in the middle of the night, that's when Amtrak runs. Well, they have top priority. So then you got what they call Z trains, which are all these intermodals, and UPS trains, and those have even more priority. You could be stuck on a TV train. I mean, just the commodities are not important. When they get there, they get there. And
there's
so
a lot of communication that's got to go on there, doesn't it?
I mean, you got dispatchers, and then once you get to Memphis, it's even crazier because you have Union Pacific, CSX, Norfolk Southern, BNSF. You got all of them meeting right there at the river. So you got to, and you can. And the thing about it, you're a union worker, which is very cool. Let's go Teamsters. So, but it's not old school union, which was very cool because hey, we'll just go burn this stuff down if we want to, So that's the old school union. It's not like that anymore, unfortunately. But I say all that because they fight for you, and when you get fired from the job, that's really not nothing. That you got job insurance, and that means you basically have a debacle between you and the company, and the union will fight for you, and it's kind of like a little court case type thing. But still, as soon as you get a phone call, you're in a pressure cooker situation. You could lose your job. Today could be, and you could simply as clicking an accidental button. Oh, fireable fence.
Dang.
So it's very much like, please don't make a mistake. Like, and then you got switches and keys, and it's a lot. And it's yeah. I mean,
is there that much stress with food?
It is when you're doing like somebody's wedding, and then they're like, "Oh God!" And I've messed up one that I know I messed up one, but I saved it. It was just really scary.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Tell the story.
Yeah. Well, so it was here. Is at the Conway shop that we're here right here, and and this is maybe about a year or two ago when I just had this going, and I had my trailer going. We was going, all this kind of stuff, and I hadn't hired one of my best hires, which is Mariana Polk. She's my events coordinator and everything else coordinator. She's out of the Little Rock office, but that's been the best hire ever. I don't care if I go back to a food truck. Like if the hell freezes over, she's got to figure it out. We're gonna have to figure out how to pay her because she's got to go. Because I was just getting all this work, and I'm trying to do everything through email and the calendar, and then I was at a food truck event, but at the same time, a lady had her wedding, and she had told me about it, but there was never like a yes, we are confirming situation.
Okay.
Oh.
It's always going to be my fault, no matter what. It's always the food person's fault. So I didn't verify, but thank God she, like 2 hours or an hour, it was really about an hour before the wedding, she's like, "Hey, what time are y'all going to be here?" And I was like, so I had my food truck down in the Main Street, Conway, and I had the Conway shop open, and I shut them both down and took basically everything out of both places and went straight to the wedding. We were about 30 minutes late, but we still made it. Like,
dang it.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God. And I was sick as a dog. I was like, oh God, here comes the 1-star reviews. I'm never going to make it. And that's the thing, like, there's so many pieces to this. Like, one of my best friends, Baker, he's a business partner, through both shops and stuff like that. And he helps. He's never really the face of anything, but he helps with all the POSs and all the technology side and money and financial side and all that stuff, because that's not what I'm good at, but that's with the restaurants. And so I love the catering side, and I love the private chef stuff.
Okay.
I mean, if hunting season was all year round, that's all I would do. I do get tired of it, and then when I come back to the restaurant, I'm like, man, I love the restaurant side. Then I get tired of the restaurant side, and so it kind of, there's a balance there.
It's a good cycle.
It is, but like, it's just, it's brutal in the restaurant world. I mean, everybody with $20 is your reviewer, right? And it's like everybody, and I mean, we make mistakes, like, but it exposes yourself, because I have to trust other people to cook everything, because I created a job at the beginning because I had lost my job. So I built this trailer that I used to have, and I sold it and got another one coming. But that big trailer, it was something to make sure I could always make money out of. And I built it so I could, really and truly, I built it because I couldn't, most of the snow goose hunters, they all go to hotels.
Yeah.
Well, that was the problem, because I'm trying to cook. That's into February and March, right? So I'm like, if I can extend it, how can I cook for these people? Well, so I built a commercial grade kitchen on wheels, so I could just pull up and cook. Where you don't, hey, if you want to add meals to your clients at the hotel, I'll come there and take care of them. So that wasn't ever really designed for barbecue, but when after the season would end with that trailer and all the hunting stuff would come to an end, I was like, well, I got to make the payment on the trailer. Yeah. And I was still balancing back and forth from the railroad. But I knew, at least, number one, I don't have a big boat. I mean, around here, everybody's going to the lake, especially like this weekend. Well, like, once you buy those, like, I don't care if you got, you come with some of these people with a lot of money. Now you're a boat person. Now you got to go to the lake. Like, you got a camper, you got to go camping. I ain't camping, and I can go rent a boat. And luckily, my neighbor at the time, he still is, but he's a railroader, and he got a boat. Well, I know he ain't going to be using it because he's a railroader. He's going to be working. So he let me out. He's like, man, just go run the engine, just fill it back. Yep, I got you. So I kind of had my own boat. So I wouldn't really worry about that. But I didn't have all those extra expenses. But this trailer, it was just as costly as some of the nicest boats you got. But I knew that if I got back with the railroad, then all I'd have to do is I could cook for a weekend. I could get the payment paid.
Yeah.
You know, I'd break it down in small chunks to try not to stress about it. If I had to do it, I could do it. But I got laid off again, and COVID had happened at that time. It was kind of gnarly. But outside of duck season, the people that I would cook for at these hunting lodges, they would call me for their birthday. And so I'd fly out to North Carolina, or I'd fly out where all these people would come, and they're like, hey, man, just come cook for 10 people. And so we kind of got the upscale version of what we'd been doing, you know, whether it's a dinner party, teach them how to cook. We do teaching classes, or cooking classes. And so kind of just all encompassing. I mean, I don't say no. I'll figure it out. Like, I did a Chinese wedding one time. Like, I don't care. Like, we'll figure it out. Like, I've been hired to a black barbecue, and it was awesome. That was the biggest, the coolest thing as far as food world. I've got to cook for a lot of people. But one of the coolest, like, just, I don't know, accolade, whatever, put a notch on the old belt, is the boys at 247 hired me to come down there and cook for their Dove event. And they know it.
Oh, nice. That's a big event.
Well, and all of them can cook. I mean, you're talking about the best ribs and fish. You got food. They were still cooking, and they hired me to cook too. So there was so much food. I mean, the uncles and the aunts and everybody's bringing things, but they reminded me of home back in Blytheville, where I'd learned some other style of cooking. I mean, collard greens, turkey necks, all kinds of stuff. And so it was great. And I got hired, and we took plenty of pictures, and there was plenty of posts. It's like, oh, Bart done made it. He got hired to a black barbecue. And I was like, yes. Like, it is. I mean, it is. It's something cool, you know.
I mean, that's the big thing in that culture. The joke is you're invited to the cookout. They didn't just invite you. They had you run the cookout.
Exactly. And then when I backed in the trailer and everything, I was like, all right, well, I need to get started cooking. And they're like, oh, man, take your time. We already got 32 racks of ribs cooked. I was like, why am I here? I don't know. What do y'all need more food? And they're like, yeah, cook it all. I'm like, okay, whatever. Here we go. So anyway, so I had brisket and all the sides and all this other stuff. And then, it didn't nothing go to waste. They kept eating.
That's awesome. How many recipes are you still using from your mom?
Probably so more on the duck hunting side when I get to use those. Yeah. I really, in the restaurant game, nothing. I mean, I get inspiration and then YouTube it and then change it. You know, that's where I come up with a lot of stuff. I'll see something even on Facebook, look at it, and then I'll look through it. I'll Google search it and research a bunch of different ways to do it, and then I do it my way, you know, and then, hey, that's mine now. But that's cooking in general. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, as far as, like, what Mom's had, it was all family-style food. So I get to use her stuff more in the hunting world when we're cooking for 10 people and, you know, whether it's a side dish or whatever, you know.
So are you classically trained in any of it?
Nah. No, it's all just... Yeah, usually when I tell people, like, because a lot of it is in the restaurant where I talk to the majority of people, where I learn how to barbecue is in my front yard. Okay. Like, that's where I come from.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, in the front yard. So you got everybody driving by, and they stop, you throw on a hot link. Hey, I might not have no ribs for you, but I got a hot link. You always got a hot link. As the grill's going, you got a hot link. Got to.
How many times have you cooked something and then took a bite and said, "Oh my gosh, I destroyed this"?
So the quote is, "Good barbecue comes from experience, and experience comes from bad barbecue."
I like it. I like it.
So when I was first doing the barbecue thing, because that's so kind of tied into what I was saying about the trailer, is when these people would hire me out, I'd go and cook this, 5-course meal with drinks and all this other stuff. Well, they'd want me to leave them something the next day, so I'd cook barbecue. Well, then it come into, hey, can you just send us some barbecue, or can you do, because the barbecue was so good. And in Greenbrier at the time, there was no barbecue, and I was like, well, bare minimum, I've got this locked down. Let's just see what happens. And then it exploded. But I had a bunch of things. I mean, obviously I think the food was good because of where it's gone and how it's going. It can always get better. But it was in the heart of COVID. And so the only time people could get out, if we all remember, was if you're going to eat at a food truck. That's everybody's vacation. So if you food trucked it, or you adapted really fast at a restaurant to figure out how to make your drive-through and to get to people, you thrived. Yeah, I mean, you didn't die. You thrived. Yeah. And so, that just comes back to that, adapt and overcome, and, what are you going to do? And so it ended up working out. It was pretty cool. And then we found this spot. I ended up going back to hunting season, and I found this spot that we're in. It used to be a meal prep thing, but I was looking for a place that The problems with a food truck, weather, hot, cold, snowy, rainy, cloudy, everything gets affected. That drink machine is probably the best thing ever because drinks in a food truck suck. Like, because you only have so much cold storage.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, and then you're carrying all these drinks around. It's like waters and Cokes, and then someone wants a Mountain Dew, and you're like, you got diabetes. I'm sorry, we don't have that. Like, it's just like, good Lord. Like, you got any Mountain Dew? And it's like, oh God, like, I don't have a full vending machine back here. I've got Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, and water. That's it. Maybe some tea. Yeah. But so you get with that, and then I always tie it back to like when I first started hunting or cooking. Really, the biggest break I got was at Honey Break, and when I started cooking there, I paid attention to. I mean, that's an elite place. Like, you can't take away from anything, no matter birds, no matter hunting different, all the hunting migrations and all that. Like, it's why it's not called the Honey Break hunting show or the Honey Break killing place or the killing holes, and it's the Honey Break experience.
Yeah.
And I took that same motto of what I learned from Drew Keith and the boys down there into the restaurants and really into anywhere and everywhere we go is, how can we make the experience better? So from what we play on the music, from what we make it look like in here, probably missing an order right now. You hear the phone going off. Anyways, we're closed. But from the shirts, I mean, everything, the tables, all this stuff is all had a thought in it and about the experience when the customer walks in. Now, does everybody notice that kind of stuff? Probably not, but I do. And I try to make sure my employees understand why we do things the way we do it. It is about the experience with the food. I eat out a lot. Like, I really, like when I cook, I go hard in the paint, but we eat out a lot because whether it's baseball, stuff going on, or I'm getting home late. So it's like, I know food costs a lot. I know people are blessing us by coming through our doors. No matter if it's down in the Little Rock section or this one, they're coming through and they're helping me pay for my kid's bat or Novalee's horse lessons or whatever it is. That's all important to me. So I try to let people know what they're supporting. Never really kind of any agendas, but just like, man, this old boy, he's got Waylon playing. He's got it's just the way it is. He likes to hunt. It's just a part of the experience.
So you focus on the experience, and you mentioned reviews earlier. How important is that as a business owner? Because like if I come in and I have a great time at a restaurant, I may tell my buddies, but it's not like I'm running to Google right away. So, what does that mean to you?
I just had a text message with Baker. I hate it. I hate the review part of it because more people are apt to go after a negative review. And as someone that McDonald's don't care, Wendy's don't care, none of the franchises, even if you own a franchise, you don't care. It doesn't really matter. Does it a little bit? Not really. Don't matter. I read every single one of them. And some people might know that, some people don't know that, but I read it all and I take it to heart and I try not to because that's what you can't. Like, even the big dogs that have made it along the way, they went through the trenches, they're like, man, you can't read all of them. You can't think, like, sorry, I'm going to. Because usually if we get a negative review, I'll send it to my crew or whatever store it happened to. And I've always tried to tell them, like, it's usually like a shit sandwich. Like, right, the first layer and the bottom layer, someone's pissed, rightfully so. We messed up their food, right? And it's upsetting to some people, especially if they didn't get it fixed or corrected right then. Sometimes they get it to go and we still mess up, but they're aggravated at the first sentence. Maybe the next two, there's probably something in there because we're not perfect. So what can we learn from in there? And that last one is usually a last jab to the heart. Like, I'll never come back here. Hands down, terrible. And it's like, you know what? Just take your hands and go on. And you can't. All I know is I'm not changing my prices. I'm not changing what we do. To an extent, right? But I'm not changing who we are and what we do. I'd rather just turn it off and lock the door. Like, if I can't do it the way I want to do it to the extent that I want to, like, we modify a lot, like, especially in Little Rock. We can't run Little Rock like we learned really fast because it costs money with mistakes, but we couldn't run Little Rock like we ran this one. It is way more of a bar. It's way more of a sit-down restaurant. People down there like to be waited on. I hate it. I like exactly what we do here, which is walk up here, get my food. I'll get my own drink, thank you, and I'll go get my refill, thank you. And like, thank you, Bart, thank you. You know what I mean? So I like in and out quickness, and it's probably has something to do with kids. Like, I can't hang out at the table. I ain't waiting. Like, if we go, we were just talking about this with some friends of ours at the house. Like, we go to a Mexican restaurant, like, by the time they set that salsa down, like, hey, water, Sprite, Diet Coke, we already know what we want. Go ahead and put it all in, and we don't
To get this moving.
got to go.
People with young kids. I mean, we're on a timer from the time you walk in the door.
They got about 5 seconds before they lose their shit, and it's like, I can't help it. Otherwise, you're gonna have a mess in the floor. I'm doing this for y'all. But it's not. Baker's always telling me like facts over feelings. The fact is, down there, it's different clientele, and they want to be waited on. Waitresses are tough. Like, they're working for the dollar. They're trying to do the best they can with what they got, and you got to find the good ones, because most likely the good ones done had a job. They got a job. They make their money. They got regulars. Learn all about that. Then you got the occasional ones that you find that all they're worried about is a pack of smokes at night, and it's like, okay, well, and I have to worry about that on top of making sure the barbecue's getting cooked. Like, and so it's just a lot. And when it comes to reviews, you get more people ready to rip someone's throat out and give them a 1-star. But I know how many people. I look at the sales, I see the people, and I see when it makes them happy. But that's what people expect. They're paying it, and so they expect the good. But to go and then type in a 5-star good review, that's kind of like hindsight. Or like, man, we expect this place to be good.
Right.
You know?
And that was kind of my question. Is that beneficial for you guys to see those 5-star reviews?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's what you want to see. That's how I can tell everybody they're doing good jobs, besides me just saying, hey, we did a good job today. You know, sales were good. This was good. I know this was good. But these, I'd show them, you know, hey, another 5-star, and it had your name on it, man. Good job, you know, thank you. And then we do a little contest, you know. It's like, hey, whoever can get the most, 5 stars with your name in it, we'll give you $250, you know, something like that. We have to do and constantly create and be new, not just with staff, but you always having to do that with the restaurants. I mean, again, your big dogs, look at a McRib, you know, at McDonald's. I mean, people just flock to it when they put it, but they do that. They create a draw, they create something new. I mean, every place does it, and even it just gets tough after out of all the other things, like constantly trying to stay in front of it and constantly grind in the restaurant world. Whereas the hunting scene, you lock in about 5 dishes on dinner, and then I play around during lunchtime. So if you ever go where I'm at, we got to set 5, you know, because it helps with the budget with a lodge. Yeah, we got to set 5 dishes that are real nice, like just perfect, because we've locked them in. So I know what they're going to taste like. I mean, I had COVID one time, and I had to cook, and I was like, I didn't even have to taste test. Like, I know exactly what this is about to taste like, and I know it's good. But, like, and then I get to play around with lunch, which helps me find some fun time and this, that, and the other. So I don't really have to be, like, necessarily not creative at all throughout, but it's like, and I'm usually eating with the 10 to 20 people every night. So it's like, I know it's good. So it's it's like mowing the lawn and finishing. It's like, that looks nice. You know, it's just like, but it's what dudes want. That's why dudes mow. It's why dudes have to finish a task, and it's the same full complete circle there. But the reviews help individual businesses without a doubt, because if you go to a place and you Google search where, you know, best barbecue, or where do I want to eat in Jonesboro, wherever, what pops up? You know, all your food. Well, I mean, I look at the reviews. And I don't know what everybody else does, but I look how many stars. I mean, I ain't going to go to a place that's got like 1 star. Maybe I do if I want to be adventurous. It's like, is this really shithole? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Like, what we got to lose? But you still look at them, and I have to believe the general population looks at it, even if it's like 4 stars. You know, they've had a rough go. Maybe they got a new cook, and it was just rough for a minute, but maybe they fixed it. You know, they'll look at them. But the 5 stars help employees, but it also helps stay relevant. Like, it helps become one of those top, you know, Google search things. It always pops to the top, you know.
For me, with the reviews, I never look at the 5 stars. If I go like, okay, I'm looking at a restaurant, or I'm looking at some outdoor clothing or whatever, what I'm like, I want to buy this, but I want to see the reviews. I instantly go to whatever the bottom is because I want to see what people have had trouble with.
Sure. I do the same thing with Amazon.
So like if I see a common theme of like, oh, the burger is bad here, the burger's bad, the burger's bad. If we go there, I'm going to get chicken. I mean, obviously their burger has issues. I'm going to get chicken.
Those are your only two options.
Those are my only two options. If they both suck, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
But the point is like, I never look at the 5-star because I always think somebody's. Of course, you should have 5-star. That's why it's there. It seems like it's better for the employees than it might be for a consumer like me. For a consumer like me, I want to see where the issue has been. Has it only been there once? Because if it's only been there once, it's probably a fluke. I'm not going to worry about it. If I see it repeated, that's when I'm like, okay, then I've got an issue. And as a business owner, I'm sure once you saw it twice, you'd probably be like, okay, something is desperately wrong. I got to fix this.
But that's also why I answer them. So if you looked at our negative ones, you're going to see me say, reach out, let me fix it, let me help it. And I always do that because I have to think that at that point, I'm throwing a Hail Mary. Like, if someone sees this, at least they'll see that I fixed it or I tried to fix it.
Let me tell you what, if you answer a 1-star deal, I don't care what they said. As long as you answered it and you answered it like honestly and you weren't like snapping back at them. Then I'd be like, dude, I'm all in on this place. I'll go check it out for sure.
I think that's helped us out. And like here, like we got that, we got Greenbrier News you should know. It'll kill you, but so you got to be careful, especially business owners. And like sometimes, don't get me wrong, like some of them people wouldn't say that to my face. I can promise you that.
Oh no, absolutely.
And I'm not an aggressive person, but I can promise you they would not say any of that in my face. They probably asked me to give them some money for their kids' ball team or something. You know what I mean? Like, so and then here in Conway, you've got Conway Food News and reviews and all that. And I mean, we've been lifted up to the highest, and we've also been bombarded. But I straight up still answer all of them. Every single one of them. I answer if I see it, if it comes up, whether it's Facebook and all that. I'll straight up ask or say, hey, reach out to me. I'll say something. They'll at least know it's me. And then a lot of times that helps. That does help me out because I've gotten, they'll ask like, who's got the best barbecue in Conway? And I always, because I know all of them, and I'm like, man, Vince over at Road Hog, you got a lot of choices that in Conway, you have a lot of choices. You got Hog Pen, you've got, Vincent's, you've got Uncle Tim's, and they're different styles, and we're all different. And then you have us, and you got a couple other Wades and some other things, but go try them all out. And then I'm like, hey, here's their times, and I'll put out information. And I'm going to say, hey, come check us out too. But I don't care which one you pick. Just go support a local. Don't go to a franchise. Don't go to a quick fix barbecue place that we've got. Don't go to those. Like that. It's not that, because if I owned a franchise, I'd be like, man, I wish somebody, why you got to do that? But honestly, you ain't got no skin in the game. You ain't been behind that smoker. You ain't been behind them French fries. It's a completely different ball game. But I'll always say like, hey, sorry, I'll fess up. Hey, we messed up. Let me take care of you. I didn't get in this game to do that. I would rather lock the door. I'll go back to doing whatever I was doing. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. I can boats. I can sell whatever. But it just, I'd rather you just come, let me give you your money back.
I'll tell you what I'm impressed with. I'm very impressed with how quick you pick up on things and how quick you change stuff to try to fix it.
Gotcha.
So how do you do that, like if you're out duck hunting or if you're out deer hunting or turkey hunting or something? Does it correlate to you in the woods as well as it does back there cooking?
Like while I'm hunting, if something happens. Yeah. So here's the fun thing about me is I don't really public land hunt anymore. I kind of hunt in Taj Mahals. I get to hunt in some of the best places in the world. Yeah. Like from Wild Wings to, Falco to 7S, like Stewart Ranch. Honey Break. You got I've been there. It's awesome. Yeah. Because I don't have to wake up. I got to cook for Jeff Farmer and them for Shin. And I was at White Oaks Duck Club. And when he told me because we'd done the film festival and stuff like that, he's like, man, over hunting season, come over here and cook. And I don't ever ask to hunt. And but I always carry my stuff. I always
Just
got
in case.
You never
Gotta
know.
be ready.
It's not like having seasonings. I got the seasonings ready. Might need to season something up. I got you.
Yeah.
So he asked me to come cook, and then he's like, "Man, you want to stay and hunt?" I was like, "Yep, I'm done. I would like to do that. Yes, that would be fun."
Absolutely.
So I got to stay and hunt, and when he asked me to come over there, and he sent me, I said, "Man, can you send me a pin to the front gate, because I don't know how to get to your place." And he's like, "Man, you've never been over here?" I was like, "No," because he has a lot of stuff going on. I was like, "No, I've never been over here, but over there I've been. That's where my wife's from. Like, I know Hurricane back in the public land days. I know all that kind of stuff." But what was funny is I told him, I was like, "Man, I don't really know where your front door is, but I've trespassed on you quite often, so I know how to get in here. I just don't really know how to get to the house.
I don't know how to drive in. I know how to boat in.
I know how to boat and walk in, so I know how to do all that kind of stuff. So that was, are those y'all's?
Yeah,
oh, okay, good
yeah,
deal.
they're
I'm sorry.
with us.
Yeah, well, it happens.
You have to holler. We're closed. We're closed.
It happens, and it always makes me think I need to open up on Monday. It's like I'll get traffic and stuff, but here at this place we got to clean the smoker on Mondays and all that other stuff. But no, so that was fun with Jeff. I was like, he didn't really think it was funny, but I did. I mean, he's a serious dude. I mean, you got to be with everything he's got, so it's just serious. But I think he chuckled, but I was like, okay, cool. You got a good front door. It's nice. It's cool.
So when you were hunting with him, you weren't like bumping his shoulder like, "Dude, it's slow. When are the ducks going to get here, man? Come on."
No, and that was the coolest thing about dude's a killer. Dude,
Oh, well, I believe that.
So I've been, like Drew Keith down at Honey Break, killer.
Yeah.
But he didn't get stressed out about it. It's like he's got the experience, he knows his things, but straight killer. And so you go to different places like, that's a killer, this customer service type thing. That old boy's got his stuff. He's a killer.
Yeah.
Like, he gets mad at them. He's mad at every single one of them. So there was adjustments made, but I say all that because I ain't got a dog. I got my catering dog. That's why I got a gunner, because she usually goes with me everywhere. But I don't have to have a dog. I'm around some of the best dogs in the country. I'm around some of the best callers in the country. I don't really need anything. And to be honest with you, if you go to a place that you've hired out and I happen to be cooking there and they're like, "Oh, Bart, you want to come cook breakfast in the blind with us?" Prepare for it to be slow. Because there's only one reason why they're asking me to come cook for you. That's because it's going to be about 11 till we leave, and we probably ain't going to be doing much. So we're going to get some pictures of some sunrises and fellowship. That's what's happening in a bologna sandwich, and I'm going to cook up something. So, I've got my, public land hunting. You's like, hey, that's the decoy dude. It's the dog dude. That dude's got a boat. You always brought something because you were part of the group. Unless it was your first time, just bring yourself. So we know you don't kill yourself, shoot somebody up, hold yourself. So everybody else has all their duties, right? They got everything. So mine was always food, hey, bring this. So to adapt and overcome a situation, I'm looking at somebody else. I ain't about to tell them, because usually I'm at their place. I'm like, "Are you going to call?" I'll bring my calls because I like calling and staying in tune. And then more, and especially when it's a banger, everybody calling, and then you just pay attention to social cues or the eyeballs, like, put them up, but I just, I just do what everybody tells me to.
Do you have a hunt that you remember that I laughed my butt off this whole hunt? Do you have a hunt more like that with any of those big name guys?
Yeah. Well, so hills are smaller at the top. And so we have a core group of people amongst everyone from Shin to Yeti to Sika and all of the brands and all of the hunting stuff that we do, different hunting trips, and we all gather up and we see each other multiple times throughout the year. And sunrises and fellowship, that's a part of it. It doesn't matter where you pay your money to, whether it's an Orvis Lodge, one of the best lodges in this world, they got a gar hole. And I've been there. I can just promise you, every place has a gar hole. Whether they meant to or not, I've been there. Like, I've got jokes, and I don't know when I'm going to release it, but I have every hunt that's been a gar hole hunt. I have pictures of it, and I have where I was at, and I have documentation with it, because I want my book is going to be Sunrises and Fellowship, because you guys know during hunting season, somebody posting bullshit sunrises, they ain't killing nothing. Thank God for the sunrise. Okay, well, we'll see you at McDonald's. We're going to see you at the Bulldog and Paul Knob, because you didn't kill nothing. Just call a spade. You didn't kill nothing. And so everybody laughs at that because it's true. It's true. Oh man, sunrise so beautiful. Thank God for another day. I'm tired of sunrises. I'm tired of fellowship, and I want to kill. Like, and so I've been on a couple. And everyone knows. And so now it's a point. Like, we got to take part. We got to. So like, I've been with Bart and Ramsey. I've been on actually. The most hunts I go with him, we end up killing really well. Like, he makes a point out to it. So he's like, you ain't getting gar holed because he brought all these dogs, so they ain't gonna gar hole him.
That's a good point.
So I've kind of fixated. I'm going with Barton. So yep. And then Barton
you figure it out quick and you adapt to it.
Yeah. So I'm going with the dogs. So yeah, because they ain't gonna just have them there, shaking. That's not what's gonna happen. We got to get footage. Go with the cameramans and go with Barton. That's who I'm going with. So most of my good hunts have been with him at all these different places.
Cameraman over here.
Yeah. But they can also take product shots too. So you can't just solely base camera situation. It's got to be a combo, right? It's got to be a combo. Do not go with it if it's like, oh man, we're going to cook out in the blind. Don't go.
That means they ain't killing anything.
Go ahead and sleep on in.
Yeah,
go ahead and sleep on in. Yeah, if they're like, oh, we're going to upgrade your status to cooking in the blind, save the deposit. Just go ahead and ain't going. Just save your trip. Nope, don't do that. But all of that started. That whole thing started at Texas Teal. Heyday puts on a big Texas Teal hunt. We go down to El Campo, Texas, and basically get eaten by mosquitoes for 3 days straight, and basically blood transfusion. I mean, the mosquitoes are biblical, and I'm from Northeast Arkansas. No, it's biblical in El Campo, Texas. Like, it is so bad.
Really?
Yes. And I got gar-holed there, and it offered, they paid, and they've got land, and I'm like, this will be great. Yeah, it'll be fun. I didn't bring they're like, you don't bring no breakfast. Don't bring nothing. And I was like, okay, fine. So I go with these guys, and I tell all of them, I said, y'all are in trouble because they sent me with y'all. We ain't gonna shoot a thing. So y'all might as well I got plenty. I always carry a snack. My blind bag is dope. Like usually everyone, Harold and Sons, blind bag's dope. So everyone always asks me like, what's in my blind bag? And because I'm not about to get out there stranded and be bored.
Well, what's in there? What's in there?
Extra battery packs, honey buns. I mean, I usually fix a breakfast burrito for at least myself. Like the key to a breakfast burrito, no matter if you get it at a gas station or not, is you take a Yeti Rambler, put it in there, keeps it insulated the whole time, and it keeps it safe from getting squashed.
Exactly.
So you got protection and insulation.
Smart man.
Yeah, you can do
that one too.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with. I mean, you can take one of the smaller Yetis. You can vacuum seal, pork, shredded pork. Heat it up in the morning. Pour boiling water in the Yeti, and then put that in there. And by the time it's about 10 o'clock low, you got barbecue sandwiches ready. So,
well, dang.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and you didn't even have to cook. So it was already the whole time. You got all kinds of stuff. So, but it was at that El Campo hunt that year, and it was. Everybody, we were getting in the Can-Ams. They're like, oh, you're not, because I'm like, I don't know why I'm waking up, JJ. JJ's over it, and I'm like, I don't know why. I'll go, because they're always like, Bart, you need to go. But they'd never really thought about the cook who has to then get back and cook because they still want brunch. Right? So we got to get brunch ready. And I'm like, all right, well, brunch is going to be at 11 and not 10 because I got to get back. But we were sitting in that blind, and I'm telling you, so many mosquitoes, and there was some good folks in that blind, and Connor from Wild Wings was in there, and we almost died. Like, we were laughing so hard because I was like, I'm so tired of fellowship and sunrises. Like, I've seen the same sunrise from East Coast to West Coast. It is the same sun. It is the same colors. It is the same fellowship. It's the same jokes. Everyone has it's always the same jokes. When they gonna let the ducks out? But like, oh God, like, yeah, ring the bell so the ducks get out. Like, oh my God, like, all right, same joke. I've heard it. Yep, funny. It's great. Yeah,
I'm impressed. I love
gar holes.
I say I love this. I love hearing that the big name guys have it just as much trouble.
Yeah,
as we do.
It don't matter if it's less likely, but
you can get stuck on social media and be like, those guys kill them every freaking day.
Well, I'm not going to show you the bad date to the prom. Like, that kid never posts his photo. Like, he had a date, but he didn't post it of his sister. It's like they made me go with her. No, I ain't gonna post that. I mean, but some of them do now. Some of them like, man, we didn't kill him, and that's organic, and people are starting to figure out.
I appreciate the heck out of that.
Yeah, it's like, man, it was slow.
Like what you said, the gar hole thing, when you talk about like a gar hole book or whatever, Dude,
It's perspective
that
too.
would honestly be one of my favorite books ever.
It's perspective. It's
Yes.
like, I mean, you can say that now. Obviously, that ain't gonna be good for business. You got a lot of them,
Right.
So you got to intermingle. It's
Right.
marketing, right? But you can market to a bad hunt. It's like, yep, we had old Bart out here. Y'all know it was slow. Just take off on it. I mean, it's something. Hashtag Garhole. Like it's.
Yeah, don't make that too big, or you're never going to kill a duck again.
Right. Yeah. Don't. I mean, I've got challenges. I'm like, hey, I've got a little bird curse, and people are like, and Jeff Farmer did not let that. That was a good hunt. We smacked him.
Yeah.
He's like, you ain't got no curse. I'm like, well, got a kind of stacked deck here too. So that's what it's like. I can't count cards at Las Vegas, but this is kind of counting cards. So, anyways, but
Well,
no,
I referenced it
good.
earlier, the mountain lion.
Yeah.
I really want to hear this story. And
Yeah.
you've told it to me at church before,
Sure.
but I want these guys to hear the story too, because it's not very often that we have somebody on here that's killed a mountain lion.
Yeah.
So let's hear that. Where was that?
Well, so it was in Utah, but talking about different hunting things. So I made duck hunting a business,
Right.
And so it's not that I don't enjoy duck hunting, but I'm spoiled and I am around it. But it doesn't. It's fun, but it's not. I mean, it is what it is because I don't want anybody to not take me no more. So I kind of like going. I mean, I like going, but I got into turkey hunting, and I got into turkey hunting with some friends of mine, and I like going turkey hunting because they're taking me, and it's because I don't know nothing besides shut up. It's like Forrest Gump. Shut up, get down. Like, yep, I can do it. I can listen really, really well, and then I get to watch them. Because turkey, for some on turkey, turkey hunters, obviously they like to kill them and go after them, but they also like to see other people kill them. And can they call them in? Because they might have already shot all theirs, but now they get to call them in and work them and stuff. And so that was always cool. But then I kind of ended up making that a business by going to turkey camps that needed cooks. And that was still fun.
It's a different time of year.
It is, and I was able to get more business. That's where I killed that Michigan bird with Great Lakes, and that was fun. But again, when they kill one, after the whole camp's killed, well, now it's my turn, so let's go kill something. So that the turkey hunting's fun, and then the pig stuff, those are fun. But I always not before having 4 kids now, but so things maybe every 2 years, but every year I would go after all the hunting stuff. I would pay to go on a hunt for myself.
Right.
And a friend of mine who basically got me started and is one of my best friends, David Frisbee's with Gator Waders and stuff. But he's been my friend for a long time from Drake Waterfowl from the very beginning. I still call him when I get stressed out. And, I mean, he was the one that told me I was so worried about a $5,000 enclosed trailer when I first started because I was carrying all my crap in the back of my truck. He's like, dude, you just go get a trailer. I'm like, man, it's $150 a month. What am I going to do? And I'm like, he's like, don't. And it's just one of those things, like, you can always sell it and you always file bankruptcy. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like owning your own business. I mean, you can always just do something else. But he is into that, like, the Dangerous 5 and the the signature pieces of, hunting the, antlered animals or anything like that. So I got connection with him, with Neil and Brownlee, and I love those guys over there. They have it all figured out and they inspect. They ain't got. I'm not going to say they don't have no gar holes, but they try to eliminate the gar holes because you're paying a lot of money to them to find you whatever animal you want to kill. And so whatever you want to kill, they've got it. They have an outfitter that they trust. They've been doing it for years. They know the people that you're going to. You're not just going to a random that they found. So there's benefits to that because it's kind of like a tried and true. I mean, you're not going to be on their list if you're not good. So I used them, and that Neil guy that's sitting over there, that was my first like kind of exotic hunt with them, and that was fun down in South Texas. Margaritas, tacos, and we drove around, and I shot a suppressed 338 Lapua at it, and it killed it like a hammer. It was awesome. So that, I mean, and that was my type of hunt. I mean, I love that kind of hunting. Yeah, I wish we could shoot things out of trucks. It's the best type of hunting. Like, it is great. I didn't have to get out. Yeah, I like when you pay. I get it. The chase is fun, but time is money, baby. And I like killing the one that's got a blue tag on it. That one's good to go. That maybe mine's sick. Hey, go out there and kill the one that's sick. Perfect. Is it slow? You got one hung up for me? You put it on a leash? I don't really care. I think it's fun because I like to cook it. Like, I like the experience, and the turkey hunting's fun like that. But I really like being able to, like, hey, you killed the blue one, that's going to be about $5,000. You killed the white tag, you're going to go bankrupt because that one's $25,000. Don't kill the white tag. So I like that kind of hunting. Not everybody's into that, but that's, business guys. I got a weekend. I'm working all the time and doing this, so I got 3 days to go. We don't have no baseball. We don't have nothing. I want to maximize my time, and so I like going on those type of hunts. So I usually go on one a year. So I paid for this one, and that's the cool part. It's a payment plan. You put a deposit down, you just make little payments here and there. The next thing you're over in Africa. You never know. Like, you just make a little payment plan. It's fine. It's like PayPal. You just pay it and it'll be fine. But no, I did that, and I had it paid for during COVID, but obviously flights and everything. So it got postponed. It either got postponed a year or 2 years. I can't remember. But finally, I got everything lined up, flew out to Vegas, drove up to the mountains, and, of course, it snowed its butt off, and I am not built for the snow. I am a hobbit. I am a mountain folk, the Shire, Shire folk. That's me. Nice grass and just eating and then going to sleep. So I am not built for snowshoes, and what I had...
Did you have to wear, like, the old snowshoe things?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, they got the new ones, but they wasn't built for me.
Yeah.
Like, they got, oh, boy, you're going to have to get this one. And I went with two of the best in the cat game as far as killing. They're old dudes that will kill all of us. Like, they walked miles. I mean, I did not really know what I got myself into, and I asked my buddy Trey, who is one of the guys at Neil and Brownlee. I said, Trey, is this gonna be? He knows my type of hunts. Like, we gonna be able to get out of a boat and just shoot this thing?
So you're saying they parked the truck on this and you had to get out?
Yeah, yeah. And they run dogs, and that's a cool thing. But the dogs run really far, and then they tree it, and then if it had snowed, and then you got to walk through all the snow. And so I know the first day I walked like 8 or 9 miles through all this snow because and it was super cool though. So we get up early in the morning, and we look for tracks in fresh snow. And these paw prints, and they know where to go. They know what they're looking for. They know all these different, places in the mountains. And then once they find fresh scent and fresh paws, they'll let these dogs out. And it's all on GPS. And now I'm thinking like old school, like, we about to deer hunt. This is great. I'm going to wait for them to go through the cut, and I'm just going,
get him crossing the road.
This is exactly what I signed up for. And then we sat there for hours and hours. These dogs all over the mountainside, and they're looking and searching. And then we found one the first day, and it had chased it up. And we literally sat in the truck and watched GPS, and finally it got treed for a little bit. And when we started walking, it got untreed, and then by this time it's getting dark. Well, I ain't getting out here in the dark. Nope, we're going back to the truck. So that was the first day. That was just like, okay, this is a lot of waiting. I was rested up because the next day was horrendous. So the next day, early sign, kind of go back to where we were, go on the back side of this hill. Dogs tree it, find it. It's an 8-mile walk. It is to the tippity top, through rocks, through snow. I got to ride on my first snowmobile. That's stupid. Like that.
No good?
No, because they don't tell you that underneath that snowmobile could be like 10 foot deep of snow. Like it's because it's all like weighed out and weight dispersion. No, like I'm again top heavy, and I got all this gear on, and so I fell off, and I thought I was gonna have to use my air flight button. I was like, I'm not getting out of here. Like, I can't move. I can't crawl out of this. You try to crawl, and then I'm just tired. Like, this is exhausting. I'm not made for that. I'm made for Arkansas snow. Like, I can drive on that. I'm the one out and about, but this one, I'm staying home if it snows like that. I'm out. But so I'm walking, we tracking it, and then it got untreed all the way through these things, so it runs right past us. I see it. I obviously couldn't get a shot because I can't breathe, and so I'm just like, okay, well, it went that way. So now, and I'm talking, we're like mountain climbing. I'm climbing through rocks, and I'm like, I'm tired and I'm going to die. And I didn't wear the right shoes, even though I thought they were the right shoes. I had put them on my little checklist, but my feet were not in the right, like I rubbed blisters on the back of mine. And so that was all day, and that was a miserable day. And I was like, honestly, if I don't kill anything, I'm ready to go home. Like, I'm good. That was the second day. She was terrible. But Third day, similar situation, and I was like, this is bad. Like I don't like this. This is not. I text Trey and I was like, I want my refund. Like, this is not what you like. And we got a good friendship. We got a good friendship, and I'm just like giving him a hard time. I'm like, you did not tell me that I needed to be in like Usain Bolt shape to walk all this. Like, I understood when you're like, hey, you're gonna have to hike. You're gonna have to hike. That's fine. They didn't tell me I was gonna have to be like that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but that whole day and that experience, my guides then, latched on to like, we're going to have to do something different. So now they got like all their kin and all of their snowmobiles out. And so they're like, we're going to get you wherever you need. You might still have to hike some places, but we're going to get it to where we can get it. So we find a cat, they track it, it's all good, and they treat it very fast. And it was like, and then there's two guys, and so one guy, he went out and he's like, all right, it's treed, it's right here. And for whatever reason, like when they're good and treed, those dogs won't let it down, and that cat just doesn't know that it could come down there and tear all hell. And I don't know what happens, biology, I don't know what's going on in the brain, but they will stay right there. And those dogs will not let it do anything else but stay in that tree. So I guess I'm saying all this because even though I paid for this hunt, I still had to work. So it was still a lot of work. And
I wanted to hear the story.
It was dog tired. So I finally, we did the snowmobile thing. Of course, I fell off, and then that was miserable. And then I get snowshoes, and then snowshoe strap breaks, and it's a mess. But I tie it with it was like, what's that dude, survival gills. I like just whatever. I'm like, I'm tying my shoelace around the thing. So we finally walk up there. She's treed up, pretty as can be. I got a bunch of pictures, and at this point, I took a selfie with it. It's not going nowhere, so it's cool. And then, just took the shot, falls down, and it's over. And I'm like, wow. But it was super cool to watch her, get a bunch of videos of her, understand it. And the reason, again, why they do all this is conservation. The cats are overpopulated in this area. They're killing herds of everything. They're killing, all the deer. They're if they're not controlled, just like anything else, just like all the wolves that are getting put out, if they're not controlled, they will take over something else. Mm-hmm. So, and you have to draw a tag for it and all this other stuff, and you have to go into different units. You can just get an over-the-counter tag and stuff. But this one in particular, I believe she was 5 years old, 125 pounds. Got pictures of her. Her paw is as big as mine. She was huge. She was a big cat. Yeah, it was a lot of cool. It was really, really cool. It was a cool experience. Won't ever do it again. But, and I will tell everyone that, like, be prepared to hike. And I know there's different things and there's different places you can kill them, but this was fresh snow. It was really rough, and I'm out. So, nope, never going to do it again. But
I love it.
It was a lot of fun, and like I said, I do that because I get to be the customer and I get to be the client side of that stuff, and that's fun, But I try to do one of those a year or at least try to pay for something. The next one I'd like to do is big black bear.
I was going to ask, what's next then?
Yeah, I'd like, as far as something like that, I would, because where I would go is you get a boat ride, you scout them, you see them on a boat, and then on a shoreline, and then you run dogs. Like, I like that part, and there's not snow, so I'm like, okay, still get to use dogs, which is cool. I love watching the dogs work, even duck hunting, all that stuff. It's fun watching the dogs do their job. And then, and then we get to ride on a boat, and if we don't see one, cool. If we do, like, all right, I like that kind of hunting. So that's my kind of hunting. Yeah, I like my kind of hunting. But anyways, it's a lot of fun. I like that. And then, if I can, I like to keep something like that going, But I still enjoy dove hunting. I enjoy, especially, chit-chatting and talking, and dove hunting's a lot of fun. So all that's cool.
Do you enjoy any kind of hunting like by yourself, or you always want it to be social? No shame either way. I'm just curious. No,
I'm good. I'm by myself. Like, I don't really. It's not that I don't enjoy that, but I like to conversate and talk, and obviously, because y'all haven't said anything during this podcast, but that's fine. I'll do it all by myself. I'll be here, and y'all can just look at me. But no, it's just it comes down to business. Like, I like making money, and I like making. That's just what it's in me, and so if I can, the duck hunting thing made money, and I got to be around those type of people. So 7S does some deer hunting, but it's just like those guys deer hunting's different. So you get a group of 4 or 5 people in. Well, when you're deer hunting, you're out there. Like you're out. You might come in for lunch, you might not, but then you're not getting back till 9 o'clock at night when the sun goes down. So that's a really rough time to cook because it's a long night, long day. So I would love to kill a big deer, of course, but I'm good if I don't. Like whatever. Like I'd love to kill an elk, but that seems like a lot of work. So I've got to wait for someone to be like, hey, we got an old one that's sick, and then you can come kill it. And I'll be like,
it stays in the meadow.
Game on. Yeah. Just don't let it go back up to the top. Like, and then can I shoot it from like 1,000 yards? I'll do that. Like, and then someone else can go get it. That's fine. But I like hunting in general and the outdoors, and a lot of thought, just like anybody else that enjoys it, peace and quiet, and but I like being around people and seeing what they like to enjoy, and seeing satisfaction whenever we shoot a turkey and get pumped up, and then but it's short lived. This time will this too shall pass, goes over all that, but
well, before we let you go, Barrett, his favorite question to ask, even though he's not here, is what is, like, if you're sitting around with your buddies, after the hunt or, campfire situation at the end of the day, favorite story to tell? Like, you're going to get your buddies to laugh or this crew to laugh. Do you have a story that comes to mind like, yes, I can get everybody to laugh with this? Or it could be an emotional thing, like, I want to get to these guys. You have one?
Normally I have to tell people, like, 3 or 4 times I'm being serious. So like you could tell a story and then somehow I would know something and everybody would crack up. That's just how it's been my entire life, whether it's the ADHD or whatever. I can just take over too. So in particular, there's just a lot of, whether it's the Texas teal thing, we've laughed through multiple, so because usually we're around the same type of guys, and so we always talk about those moments and then they relive it and then it's hilarious, but normally I always like to talk about, because the cooking comes up all the time, so I always try to mention my mom. And so whether they know, at least whether they had a good time or bad time, food was good, food was bad, at least they know me, and I always try to meet, and at least they, no matter what, if I ever get another connection with them, they'll know, like, man, we know old Bart. Like, I know old Bart, and I know his story. And, like, I'll tell the story to anybody who will listen. And so that usually always comes up, and whether it's a buddy situation, it's always like it's free for all talking. But I've had plenty of pooping in the woods stories, and got to use a sock. I've had all those things happen. Blind bags tear up, boats sink, and fun stuff like that. And or public land, getting in old school fist fights and then cutting someone's fuel hose. You don't. And here's the deal: like, I don't condone this message, but if you would happen to, get in an altercation in public land and you find your way back to their boat, sneaky ops, right? You don't cut a fuel line in one spot. You cut it multiple. Because you can always have duct tape, but you can't re-duct tape an entire hose. So those are things like that. Or if you find out what truck they're in, and someone might take a deuce in their Yeti. So things happen. Things happen out there on public land. That's why I don't hunt there no more. So I'm out. People
they got wanted posters.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't me. I know people. I know.
All of a sudden, there was no more poop in people's Yetis.
Brown Bandit hasn't had
just a honey break.
Right. Yeah. We've got the brown Yetis everywhere. Yeah. So anyways, you get stuff like that and just old times. But now, I do find, I know we're about to wrap it up, but I do find when I'm in the group that I'm in now, because it has been really, really close, in particular, JD over at Falco, and Josh Raggio and Clay Force. So those are, they probably wouldn't think of, I'm not necessarily my heroes but a mentor on certain things, and like whether it's sobriety or just you owning your own business situations and just pushing through. Constantly, we all have a relationship of just checking on people. They know what I'm going through. They know my age, and I know I don't know what they're going through, but it's just a shoulder and check balances and such. Usually it's not mental health checkup, but it's like, we know you're going through the grind. How's it been? You all right? You're good? And then they know if I'm there and I'm not cooking or I'm done, it's just like, breathe for a second. They're usually trying to hand me, a food or a plate. Hey, make sure you go eat. Make sure you have a good time. Stuff like that. So it's all good. So it's good people hanging around. Those are the type of people I'm usually around. But
I love that.
yeah, it's good folks.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the outdoors industry it's definitely small, but it's full of good folks. It's full of good folks, and those are the type of clients that become friends. And like I cook for Shin as much as I cook for Sitka and Yeti, and they don't care. I found out a long time ago that they understand what I do, and they whether it's competition, they know that I'm trying to make money for my family. And so those are the type of people that I keep cooking for.
Absolutely.
Those are the ones that don't ask questions. I mean, when I opened up my place in Little Rock, I cooked, I think the same weekend we had the Delta waterfowl thing. Well, that same day I took food over to the Sitka party, even though the one was for Shin. And I even I tell them, hey, and we don't care. Like, hey, just take care of it. So those are the type of folks I hang around. So,
love it.
Yeah, good folks.
And you had that place packed out that night too.
Yes,
for the
you
Shin
did.
party. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was
Before the
hot.
air, right?
Yeah. It's before I got in there. I really did just like revamp a lot of stuff, and I mean, we hadn't even opened. Like,
I was going to say that was before the
opening.
Like,
Yeah,
paint was still drying.
Right, paint was still drying, and I thank God that I figured out that the air was terrible. Now we've revamped her up. Like, I went through that thing, and I can't tell you how many the HVAC people I've like recharged it, refill. I mean, we've had it sealed back up and everything. But when you have 550 something people in. That's not supposed to fit in there. And all the doors and windows are open up. I mean, what can I do? But again, everybody remembers the goddamn air, don't they? I'm like, I'm aware. Like one star review, here it comes.
I'll tell you what else I was aware of though, because I knew you had worked your butt off.
Exactly.
And you still came and said hi to us, and you still had a chipper, happy attitude about everything, even though you were working your rear end off.
It was brutal.
I loved that.
Yeah,
loved that.
But it's why not? I mean, you know my kids, and that's ultimately it's what I'm trying to show them. And sometimes when those bad reviews, that's one of my comments. It's like, hey, we're gonna mess up. I'm just trying to show my kids not to be afraid to follow their dream. I mean, anything can fail. I mean, and failure is just a part of the, there's all those things. Failure is a part of succeeding and all that. I screw that though. I don't want to fail. Like, I get it. Like, thank you, Lord, for the lesson. I don't really want to fail. Thank you. I get it if I do, but let's just act like I don't. And so I get the lesson, like, I understand that, but it's I mean, you got to, it's perspective, because at the end of the day though, you still by yourself. Even beside the bed, you got the wife and stuff, is still in your head, still going thought to thought. How are we going to make it? How are we going to do it? It's just a constant grind and stuff. So when you're in the moments like that, you just got to absorb it and use it, because that might be the way you get to go to sleep later. It's like, man, we had a good day. Let's worry about it tomorrow. Something like that. But anyways.
I like it.
It's good stuff, man. Well, we definitely appreciate the time. Thanks for allowing us to come to your location here. One in Conway. You mentioned the one in Little Rock. Will you plug yourself real quick where people can get to you?
Absolutely. So Old Bart Southern Eats is the restaurant page, and that's kind of where you'll see the Conway location, 1220 Old Morrilton, across the street from Lowe's. And then our newest location, it's a year will be August, so it's coming along. It's North Little Rock. It's 600 North Broadway in the Argenta district, down from the Traveler Stadium. But my social media stuff's Old Bart Likes, and so that's kind of where, if you follow that on Instagram, that's where you'll see all of it, all of the things.
Cool. Well, these guys are here close to Conway, and my wife and I are in Little Rock, and we love coming to the location. So
I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. We sure enjoyed it.
Let's get some 5 stars.
Let's do it.